Shutter Island is a film that's not exactly been under-analysed by the film community. There's tens, if not hundreds of videos with Shutter Island explained in the title. And to put it simply,
we don't do that here.
Instead, I think it's time that the ideas Martin Scorsese put forward with Shutter Island are expanded in a wider context, outside of just clickbait articles. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Before we get into the video, I just want to say that I did just restart this channel, so anyone who's subscribed so far, thank you so much. It's really been appreciated, and if you're new here, feel free to hit subscribe and also hit like. It would really help me out. Martin Scorsese in 2010 acted as a master of manipulation for audiences everywhere, as he told the story of Teddy Daniels, aka Andrew Laedis, a US Marshal called into a mental institute to solve the case of a missing person, one Rachel Solando. Or so we are led to believe. Without a moment of hesitation, the audience are thrown into a discomforting scene, Teddy puking his guts up on the claustrophobic toilet of a ship. Our first sight of Teddy comes immediately after a mass sprawling shot of an ocean. The first impression we get of this supposed strong-willed marshal is him puking in a toilet. But, as our lead docks into the island itself, nothing seems particularly off. And the key here is that we witness this entire opening scene essentially through the eyes of Teddy himself. And so when we reach the docks and Teddy's new partner Chuck supposedly flashes his marshal's badge, we receive only Teddy's perception of the interaction, an assumption of Chuck showing his badge without the man himself being shown to even carry it. This perception is further entrenched by the guards gripping the rifles, an action that through Teddy's eyes creates an audience distrust of the guards, and the chilling score that accompanies the two's drive to the gate continues to anchor down this initial distrust and fear of the island itself. This opening scene is one of, if not the most important in the film, as the immediate audience perception in this moment is the hook that allows for the rest of the plot. Remove the initial scene of this lone man puking in the bathroom of this vulnerable US Marshal, and the audience's presumptions of his protagonism, of his noble intent, are lost, and with it, all tension is removed from the film. Say Scorsese decided to open on the ship landing on the island, and the detectives talking to the guard, a scene that could easily fit the assumed plot, then the audience's view of the narrative becomes more objective, more third person, and the most vital element of what makes Shutter Island work is gone: perception. For after all, perception is the means in which we take in the whole world. Are we truly a part of the earth? Are we truly interacting with our day-to-day lives? Or are we simply living out what our limited senses and our limited minds can perceive as reality? We truly are, in so many ways, emotional slaves to these senses. Does something ever truly taste good, or are we simply getting an emotional rush as our taste buds react with sugar? And it's these limitations that allow for myth, for faith, for the ideas of the supernatural and omnipotent to flourish, as we mere mortals may only wish to fathom and understand a higher being, or an underlying essence within our existence. When it comes to film, these limitations of perception are expanded even more, further constraining our ability for full understanding, as we can only watch and listen to these projections from the screen. So when we are provided with a base understanding, a status quo to allow for our following assumptions, we so often easily go along with it, unquestioning of the truth. And this is why Shutter Island works. This is why there are so many videos analysing each bit of foreshadowing. Here, for example, both Andrew and the patient are positioned with a guard in the background, indicating they are both actually patients. George Noyce's speech makes sense within the fantasy of Teddy's mind, but when taken literally, it shows the truth about him. The patients wave and smile to Teddy, indicating past knowledge of him. The guards sit around instead of searching because they know that Rachel Solando doesn't exist. However, despite the cinematic brilliance of these scenes, of Scorsese's amazing storytelling with these foreshadowing techniques, all of them would be completely irrelevant without the foundation he laid in the opening scenes of the film. All of them would mean next to nothing without that original base perception and assumption that Teddy Daniels is our protagonist. And this perception that the audience immediately falls into is created by nothing more than two shots. The opening scenes of many movies are often the most vital in creating suspension of disbelief, intrigue, or general excitement, and there's many a video on why they're so vital. But Scorsese instead uses this claustrophobic opening scene to establish the most important element of his film. And as Teddy's fantasy begins to break, as the audience lose sight of his view of the story, and as the curtain of perception is pulled from our eyes, we can finally see not what we perceive to be true, but what actually is. And this element of perception is brought into the final stages of the film, as we begin to find ourselves falling into an assumption that the film mentions multiple times, that as soon as someone's declared crazy, people will instantly stop believing anything they say, disregarding it without question. And it's here, once again, that Scorsese uses our prejudices and our perception against us. In the final scene of Shutter Island, after we've discovered the true identity of Andrew Laeddis, the broken war veteran who killed his wife and was declared insane, our perception, our empathy, and our assumptions are flipped to the side of those that are quote-unquote sane, to the side who have been truthful. We instead are put in the shoes of Andrew's doctor, and so we feel the same heartache when it appears that Laeddis' mind has fallen back into fantasy.
Gotta get off this rock, Chuck. Get back to the mainland, whatever the hell's going on here, it's bad.
Our perception completely dictates what we believe to be reality, what we believe to be true. Scorsese here flips the status quo of the entire film on its head. He so masterfully controls and changes the audience's perception, and he does so in order to make Andrew Laeddis, aka Teddy Daniels' final words, that much more heartbreaking.
Which would be worse? To live as a monster, or to die as a good man? Teddy?
Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, it'd really help me out if you could hit like, and if you're new here, hit subscribe, because like I said at the start, I did just restart this entire channel. Speaking of which, I just want to give a massive thank you to Walshy for the shout out on his most recent video. If you're watching this and don't know who Walshy is, I'm surprised, but I'll leave a link in the description, and he's in my featured channels. He makes really quality content, so yeah, thank you so much for the shout out, man, and congrats again on hitting 1,000 subscribers. With that being said, I've been Joseph, aka Found Scarab, and I'll see you in the next one.